Okay, let's bring in retired Vice Admiral Robert Harward, a former Deputy CENTCOM commander and member of the Iran Policy Project and the Jewish Institute for National Security of America. Welcome to you, sir. So please do give us your anticipation for the next 24 hours.
Well, great to be with you. And again, President Trump's played this exactly right. The blockade has crushed them economically. So he's kind of in this race. Are they going to capitulate because they can't pay people, they can't feed the people? That's what's inevitably going to happen on this thing. So it's a sound strategy, and it reinforces his position. So when you're really willing to capitulate our demands, let us know and we're willing to talk. But until then, you're just going to suffer more and you're going to run out of money real quick.
Admiral, it's good to have you here in the studio as opposed to talking to you from Abu Dhabi as we normally do. I know you're going to be heading back there next week. I wanted to ask you what's going on with the IRGC and these fast boats. When we took out their Navy, it's laying at the bottom of the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, and there's one ship in the Indian Ocean at the bottom of the sea. But the president did not take out all of these fast boats. And that's what they're using to harass these container ships that are trying to transit the Strait of Hormuz. They're shooting up the bridges of one of them. I think it was that Liberian registered ship. I mean, the U.S. Navy's got plenty of expertise in taking out drug boats with very powerful motors at full speed. Why not just employ that strategy here?
I couldn't agree with you more. Establish a kill zone. First, let everyone know, any ship that comes in here, we know the big ships, the oil, the blockade, but any other boat, you're now a target. So their ability to use Boston whalers, any sort of boat to harass and interdict ship in a problem. So let them know right off the bat. If anyone's in this area, we've got to shoot first, ask questions later. So that's one of the escalatory steps they can take and should take to ensure they protect shipping.
I had a brief conversation with the president on the phone this morning. I asked him about those boats, and he said we can just blow them right out of the water. So we'll see if maybe he does employ that strategy.
All right. So, Admiral, with Iran's president sending out over X just a short time ago, breach of commitments, blockade, and threats are the main obstacles in what they say would be genuine negotiations. What does that lead you to believe will happen next? And do you think they're going to come to the table in the capacity that President Trump may be anticipating?
They inevitably have to. It's just pure money at this point. They've got to pay their people. They've got to keep their economies. And they've been suffering that for decades. That's why all the people have turned on them. You know, they can't feed their people. They're going to be shot when they come out of the home. If this gets so bad, they have no other alternative. I think that's what the president's pushing to. So I think he's in the position of strength, and he'll force them to the negotiating. And I don't even like to say it negotiating, capitulating. Because we've made it very clear what we want. We've gone to the table with them before. We spent 21 hours, and they didn't seem to get the message. I think they're getting the message now, and they're going to have to come forward with concessions.
Yeah. I mean, we know that, you know, from the Iranian leadership, Pezeshkian and Aragchi and Ghalibaf, it's a lot of talk in hot air, but it's not a lot of talk in hot air with this guy, Ahmad Vahidi, who is the commander of the Revolutionary Guard Corps. I asked the president this morning, I said, what are you going to do about this guy? He says, we'll knock the S out of him if we have to. But if he stays in charge of Iran, and he is the de facto leader, I mean, Iran, in terms of leadership and human rights and the treatment of the Iranian people, has just gone backwards.
Well, that's the whole problem, John. There's so many of them just like that. So, sure, we could target him, as the president referred to you today, but is there going to be another one pop up? So maybe at the end of the day, that's one of the things we got to insist on. Negotiators who can comply and conform and ensuring they are not part of the Islamic Revolution. They're going to renounce those policies and programs they had. They're one and the same, and you're going to have leaders who come to the table and state that, or less they just remain a target for the long-term solution, a government that no longer enforces those policies.
You know, Admiral, knowing that the energy markets and oil are the key drivers behind so many of the decisions that Iran is likely making at this point, how much are you surprised by the lack of shock? As we have seen in moments like this in history, we see much bigger shock in the energy markets. We're just not seeing that this time around. How much does that play out in your thinking when you
Well,
watch
I think for the
Iran's move?
president, it plays out in every way. He wants to make sure the world economy continues function, that there's not a recession, so that Americans aren't paying another dollar or two at the pump. But again, I think the realization that Iran could have done this at any time they want, fortunately, when we're in the presence of it, is the longer-term problem. If we don't solve this now, what's to say that doesn't recur in another 6 months or a year from now? So I think that's first and foremost on the president's mind, and rightfully so. He's made a commitment to the American people to reduce inflation, make things affordable, and this is counter to that. So he wants to be in a situation where he supports the American people and what they're paying for gas. At the same time, he's supporting the Iranian people to shed this oppression. And that's the dilemma he's got to dance with every day.
All right. Well, it's a delicate dance. We'll see if he can pull it off. Admiral.